here with Tasnia Ali, and we're going to talk about what it's like to be a Muslim woman in 2016. Okay, hey.
Hello.
So let's get stuck straight into it.
Okay.
What does Islam mean to you, and what do you feel like being a Muslim woman means to you?
Okay, Islam to me is a religion of peace, and I think it's, for a woman, it's designed just to be modest, or like even not like man or woman, like the both is equal to each other. So to be modest, to be a good person, to live your life as it's a test, like that's what it says from the Quran, like your life is to be a test and like you're supposed to struggle and strive for it, and just really just being the best person you can be. For me, that's what it is. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And obviously you clearly don't wear a hijab.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind me asking, what's kind of your reasoning for that?
Okay, well, my upbringings have been like slightly a bit different, because my mum actually does wear a hijab, and she does wear a burqa, so she's quite strict in that sense. But to me, she's never forced like hijab or like Islam, like absolutely like strict Islam like on me. And she knows that when that does happen, like it does go wrong, and we know that from previous experience with family members. And I've got cousins myself, they'd wear their hijab and halfway down the street they'll just take it off again. So my mum knows that happens, so she just wanted me to be a good person, and that was delivered to all my siblings, like just be the person you can be, like.
Okay, that's cool. So what do other like female Muslims in the Muslim community think of you not wearing a hijab? Like, what kind of feedback have you had, like positive or negative, from like family members, friends? Like, is it quite controversial not to, or is it quite accepted?
Yeah, I do think there is a sort of maybe a problem, and maybe if I were to voice my own opinions of Islam, I would probably be judged. Like, you can't talk because you don't have a headscarf on, or why are you talking? Okay. How could you possibly preach? Like, which is fair, but then it's not really, because then again, people, or like women or men who actually do that, that's not what Islam is supposed to be. You're not supposed to judge another person, you're not supposed to question someone's belief. So when they do it, they're definitely contradicting themselves, like absolutely. But no, I do feel like sometimes when I don't, and people don't know when I'm Muslim, they do treat me differently, and the women definitely have like an opinion in their heads of me already before I've even spoken to them, sort of thing. Yeah. Do
you mean like the non-Muslim women when they realise you're Muslim, or you mean the Muslim community?
Like the Muslim community, like someone that sees my mum and be like, oh yeah, I want to meet your daughter, and they might meet me and be like, oh, that's your daughter, or I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so. And from the non-Muslim community, I definitely get a similar reaction, to be like, they might say something sort of anti-Islamic or quite racist in some sense, and then I'll be like, oh, I'm Muslim, and they'll be like, oh, oops, or they'll be like, okay, definitely treating you differently.
Okay, yeah. So what's your kind of experience of like Islamophobic behaviour?
Me particularly, I've not had as much as, to say, my mum would have had. My mum had several of abuse thrown at her, whether it be verbal, physical. It's just quite disgusting, and it does get worse. Like every sort of incident that happens, like 9/11, something like would have happened like around that time, Lee Rigby, something would happen, prize attacks. Like she gets it all the time and she brushes it off. But one particular time when I was around like 7 or 8 years old, I think this was after the 7/7 bombings in like London or something like that. I was on the bus in Manchester, and my mum has broken English, and we're just trying to explain to the bus driver, like, okay, we're just trying to get to this place, and we were sitting quite close to her, so we know the directions where we're sort of going.
Yeah.
And these 3 teenagers were just throwing abuse at my mum, and I definitely couldn't defend her, being a 7-year-old, and calling her an effing packy.
Oh wow.
And the bus driver could definitely hear this, could definitely hear Like, everyone in the bus, because there was other Muslims on the bus and they weren't going to defend us. So my mum completely brushed it off. She didn't talk about it. She just didn't care. But it really kicked me, like, wow.
Yeah, I bet.
And I was so young, and it's just like, you can see that this lady has a young daughter with her. Like, clearly, why for abuse? Why?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's been loads of incidents, and like threatened her with dogs and to like hit her, and yeah.
It's physical violence as well.
Yeah, no, definitely, for sure.
Wow. You mentioned you got 2 brothers. Do you think that, like, the female members of your family, such as you and your mum, get equal amounts of abuse as your brothers and your dad?
Yeah, kind of. I think there is definitely, obviously, a gender kind of difference, obviously. But, like, within my family, we've always just been equal, like... There's not been favourites for sometimes, but yeah, like, I don't know, like with my family and my dad, like he's never had a sister, so or sort of a female like in his life like that, and when he had me he completely changed, and he was like, okay, right, I'm not letting my daughter being disrespected, like if I'd had disrespected women in the past, that's okay, but not my daughter now, because like now I've got someone in my life who I need to like look out for, and I've never had this before.
Yeah. So it sort of changed his perspective on like gender equality.
Oh my god, definitely.
And what about people externally from your family? Like, do you think that people who are sort of anti-Islamic or just like plain out racist, do you think they attack the women equally as amount as the men in your family?
Yeah, I think, do you know what, I honestly do think Muslim women get it quite worse, if I'm honest, because you'll see them an average day, you know, doing their shopping or whatever, and you'll see them on the street alone, and you can, I see it all the time, like someone just verbally saying something to them, like, because they know that they can't do anything, they know that they're not going to square up to them either, they're just going to brush it off, and so they sort of get away with it, these racist people. So it's just an easy target for them, I do think so, and that's so unfortunate, because these women are innocent and it's just not fair.
No, it really is. Okay, well, thanks so much for talking to me, sharing some like sensitive stories, and hopefully this brings some more awareness.
Yeah, no, for sure. Okay,
thanks. Thanks, guys.